Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at FreshBooks. Go to freshbooks.com/Arel. In the How Did You Hear About Us section, put the Art of Likability. You'll get 30 free days of their awesome invoicing, expense tracking, and get paid faster software.
Welcome to the Art of Likability, ranked one of the top podcasts in the world. In this podcast, you'll discover how to leverage likability to build stronger relationships, lead more efficiently, close more sales, and keep customers happy while increasing success in your professional and personal life. Let's jump in with your host, Arel Moody.
What's going on, Art of Likability family? Arel Moody here, your host of the Art of Likability podcast, where you learn incredible strategies to build incredible relationships. So you're going to be walking around like, yo, I got incredible relationships. And then people are going to come up to you like, yo, how'd you get them incredible relationships? And you're going to be like, I listened to this great podcast. It's incredible, called The Art of Likability. And that's what you're listening to right now, family. So I'm excited to share with you a really great strategy this week that is going to be so unbelievably useful for you. Now, I want to give you a strategy on how to create a great first impression every single time. This is a really, really great strategy. We're going to be doing a lot more about connections and relationships, so stay tuned because especially starting conversations, keeping conversations, making a great first impression, absolutely valuable. It's valuable in your professional life, if you're in a networking event, if you're in a business meeting, asking yourself, how do I create a great first impression? All right. So there's a lot of different ways. There's not just one. I don't want you to think I'm going to give you the one way. This is the only way you make a great first impression. You don't have to worry about anything else. There are multiple ways, multiple strategies, multiple layers. There's tons of it. But I want to give you some great strategies that are going to be helpful right now. So when you're making a first impression, the first thing I want you to think about is what are the anxieties and things that you deal with that make you feel like I really don't like when I meet someone I don't know. Typically, we think about we don't want to look stupid. We don't know what to say. We don't want to embarrass ourselves. You don't like the social pressure, feeling like you have to be on. That's just a little bit of it. You could be experiencing way more, way less, completely different ones. Regardless of who you are, I just want you to know we all have a certain level of anxiety of making a good first impression. Because, as the saying says, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So what are some ways that you can make a good first impression? One of the things I like to do is if I'm going to meet someone that someone else knows, I'll ask my friend, tell me a little bit about this person, right? So let's say I'm going to go to a business meeting and they'll say, hey, we're going to be meeting with this client. I'd be like, great, could you tell me anything about it? And I'll say, well, this person has been with the company that we're working with for 20 years. They were my very, very first customer. It's a very important, long-standing client. Blah, 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 blah. They'll tell you a bunch of things. So now I've asked them about this person. I made a little bit of research, if you will. So then when I go meet the person, one of the things I'll say is, okay, is this Jonathan? Jonathan, like this is the person I'm meeting, right? Jonathan, it's so good to meet you. Now, I hear that you're my coworker, Robert's first customer ever. That is so awesome, and it's so exciting to meet you. That makes a really good first impression because what I'm doing is I'm finding something about them that's relevant and I'm bringing it up when I first meet them. I'm acknowledging for them. It's a really, really powerful technique or strategy, whatever you want to call it, to use. Now, obviously, this works best if you're meeting someone who someone else knows. So always look for that. If you're going to be in a new place, what kind of recon or what kind of work can you do beforehand? Now, what I want you to do is keep in mind you don't want to bring up something that might be considered too personal when you first meet someone. So for example, like if I've never met someone before and I decide to go on their Facebook page and I find out that their daughter had a dance recital, the very first thing I'm not going to do is, hey, John, I know that your daughter just had her dance recital. How'd it go? That makes me look really creepy. Like that's when you're a stalker. It's like, how do you know my daughter had a dance recital, right? So I would encourage you to stay away from anything that should not be information that is readily available. And you have to use a certain level of common sense. So like if I'm meeting someone in a business setting and I find out their daughter had a dance rehearsal, recital, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. That's not something that should be brought up. But if you can find something that's relevant, like, oh, you're meeting someone who's the first client of someone, that's absolutely relevant. You can bring it up. So you want to find out what's something you could bring up. Now, let's say that they're really, you find out someone's really a sailing enthusiast. Okay, I'm making these up here, right? Just fill in the blank. Okay, so you find out someone's a really big sailing enthusiast. They love going sailing. That might be something that I bring up in the conversation as well. Now, if I really am into sailing, it's a lot easier for me to bring it up in the beginning. If it's something that I don't know about, I might bring it up actually at the end of the conversation. So this is also an important time. A lot of people think a good first impression happens in the first like 14 seconds or something. It's really the first experience. So I might meet with someone, and then as we're leaving, as kind of an aside, I'll go, "Hey, is it true that you really are into sailing? Because I'm really curious about that." And they go, "Oh yeah, man, I love sailing. I go every weekend, and I got my own little yacht, and I got blah 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 blah. And I do this with the thing, and there's a mast, and it turns to the left, and the wind blows, and I go for it." And you go, "Oh man, that's so cool. Listen, next time we chat, I'd love to talk to you more about that because I got some questions about it. I don't know much about it, but I heard about it. I just want to bring it up before we left." And I say, "Cool." So the reason why that's important is because you're leaving a good taste in their mouth at the end of the conversation. Do you catch that? So not only are there ways to make a good impression right in the beginning, when they're actually leaving you and you bring up something that's like enjoyable or something that shows that you did your research on them, then that makes them go like, "Oh, this person's cool. Like I like them. This is really, really nice." So you can make a good first impression at the very beginning, at the end, because those are typically what we remember. So you always want to think about why and how do I make a good first impression. Now, for example, we partnered with our good friends over at Fresh Books, right? So again, if you don't know about it, we've been doing this great little promotion for them where if you go to freshbooks.com/Arel, you can get 30 free days of their invoicing software, their receipt tracking software. So one of the things that's really cool, if you are someone, a lot of our listeners are people who are maybe in their own business or a freelancer or something of that sort. Making a good first impression also is showing that you're organized, that you have things together, that you have your systems. So where you build a good reputation, you're meeting with people, you can say like, "Oh, I have all your information. I have all the expenses with your client." So if you are in business, I do definitely recommend checking out the freshbooks.com/Arel. And do me a favor, if you sign up, which you should, just like try it. Like they don't require you to like give up your spleen or something, right? It's worth trying. Just make sure you put in the "How did you hear about" section Arel Moody, the Art of Likability, because we want them to know that our listeners take action. So if you happen to take action, let them know why you took action. So having your research and doing the work beforehand actually does help out a lot, whether it's with your clients, business, or whether it's meeting someone personally. Sun Tzu wrote a really great book that's very popular called The Art of War. And in that book, they talk about, most battles are won or lost before they're fought. So a lot of times doing your research before a conversation, before meeting with a client, goes really, really far if you can understand them. So I know if I have a big meeting, some of the things I do from a research perspective, just so you can get a sense of how to find things that you could bring up to show that you've kind of looked this person up. Because people actually really feel admired when you do research on them. Like if you know someone's done something and you go, "Oh man, didn't you just write a really cool article for, Engineering Enterprising magazine?" Like that's really, really cool. Like, "Oh man, you did your research. That's really, really like, that's awesome." People actually don't feel like skeezy or weird. If you've done your research, they actually appreciate it. Again, as long as you're not bringing up research that's like too personal in nature. Like if I'm talking, again, the example we gave someone's daughter recital, that's too personal. Don't bring that up. That's going to be weird. But if you want to talk about something they've done, some accomplishment, some unique thing about them, it works well. So here are the places I go. I go to Google. So I put their name into Google. And then I might click on the news feature, what I typically do. So if you go to Google search results, there's like typically web features. Then if you like look at the top menu, there's images, video, shopping, all that stuff. But there's one that says news. So I'll put their name in and I'll look at news and I'll say, is there anything news that Google has caught of that's relevant for, this person or this company? That's the first thing. Second thing is I go to social media. I put their name and or their email into Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram, typically. Those are the ones I typically go through. And I try to see, do they have a public profile? And if they do, what kind of stuff are they posting about? Whatever they're posting about, you'll get a sense about like what they care about. Again, if someone's posting about their, personal life or whatever, don't like, if it's not relevant, don't bring it up. But if someone's posting about like they're running a marathon, for example, right? That's probably something they've put a lot of work into by the nature of it. They've probably spoken about it a lot. So you can say, hey, man, it's great to meet you. And it's really cool to see someone who's really diverse. I did a little research and I see you're doing a marathon. I think I've never done one, but I mean, God bless. How's that process going? I'm really curious. Before we get started, I just want to hear about that. And if they've been working on a marathon, they've been doing tons of work and effort and, processing and thinking about it. So it's something they probably would really enjoy talking about. So doing your research is fine. And just so you know, it's totally okay to say, I've done a little research on you and I found this and I thought that was really cool. Or I found this and I wanted to congratulate you. So I recently gave a TEDx talk called The Secret to Student Success. So a lot of you may know I do a lot of speaking to college students, high school students. I have a company called the College Success Program. I love, love, love talking to students. If you're listening to this and you're a teacher or a principal, you should see the stuff we're doing in the student success space. It's really, really awesome, right? I really am excited about it. And, the TEDx organization reached out to us and said, we're doing this event and we'd love to have you come speak about student success. And I was like, yo, this is what I do, baby. Let's get it done. So if I met with someone and they said, Aurel, it's so great to be with you. Yo, I just heard or I just saw that you gave a really great TEDx talk on the secret to student success. Man, that's awesome. Now, if you really want to get brownie points, you would actually watch the video and then mention something from it, make it a little more personal and not just reference it in general. And I promise you, I'd be like, oh man, that's so cool that you saw that, you watched it. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Because it's something that's new, fresh, it's exciting for me. So it's something that I'd be very excited if someone did. So again, if you want to make a really, really great first impression, do a little research. Talk to people who might know the person. Look them up. Look up who might be there. Again, you might be going to an event where you're not sure who's there. I would ask, I'd try to figure out by asking friends, coworkers, whomever, what kinds of people would be here? What types of people? What can you tell me about them? The more you can know about someone before you walk into the room, the better off you'll be and the more prepared you are. The more prepared you are, the more easy it is. A lot of anxiety and stress simply comes from being unprepared, lack of preparedness. Hopefully I said that. Prepared, whatever, you get what I'm saying. So if you can be more prepared, you'll be less anxious. And I want you to remember that. A lot of anxiety when it comes to whether it's public speaking, whether it's a presentation, whether it's meeting someone, a lot of it is because we're not prepared. So the more prepared you are, the more ready you are for battle, as Sun Tzu would say, I guess battle, right? But really it's not battle because we're building teams and it's an awesome experience. So it's just you'll feel more confident. So this is a very small, simple strategy, and there's a bunch more. Like there's a ton more on, and we're going to be, showing you about how to make a good first impression, how to keep conversations and relationships going. That's the nature of what we do here at this podcast. So I really hope you I really encourage you to stay consistent. Let me know. I want to know, like, when you first meet someone, and I'd love to hear from you. Seriously, like I really, really would. Okay, when you first meet someone, what makes you nervous? What makes you feel uncomfortable? What happens? Are you afraid you don't know what to say? Or you're afraid you're going to come off weird? I really want to know what you feel. Shoot that over in an email to info@artoflikability.com. Send me a Facebook or LinkedIn message. I do check them all. And let me know, like, my question to you is, what is it that makes you feel uncomfortable or nervous when you first meet someone, you're first making a first impression? Okay. One, try out what we talk about today. I think it'll work. But also I want to hear what else so we can address those and make sure that they go away for you. Okay. So you can be really awesome. And if you want to be anonymous, just shoot me an email. I got you. I ain't trying to make you feel weird. I'm trying to make you awesome and incredible with your connections and relationships and stuff. Okay. So I'm out of here. Make sure if you're holding your phone and you're listening to this podcast with your phone, have you clicked the subscribe button yet? Because if you haven't, you are missing out on hotly fresh, delivered podcast. So make sure to hit the subscribe button. Give me a 5-star review on iTunes. Some of y'all starting to do more reviews. Thank you. If you're one of the thousands of people listening who have not given a review yet, I'm going to shut the podcast down if you don't do it. How you feel about that? You be liking this podcast. You getting good information. You learn strategies, but you ain't living reviews. You're selfish. That's what your problem is. Your problem is you're selfish. If you got over your selfishness, we won't be having all these problems. I'm just playing with you. But not for real. No jokes aside. Like, leave a 5-star review. I'd really appreciate it. And it means a lot to me. I read every single one. Connect with me. Let me know if I can help in any way. I'm out of here, y'all. Sending you a big old high five. You are awesome.
Thanks for listening. Make sure to subscribe to our podcast, The Art of Likability, and reach out with any questions you have. Until next time, remember, my friend, you are awesome.